You're gonna work your arms, your abs, your legs, probably your throat, your wrist, your fingertips. Like everything is gonna get worked out.
Now today we have with us a very special guest. Mrs. Traci Young-Byron is in the house. Traci, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, for some of you that are not familiar with Traci's story, she was featured in season 4 of Colorful Illusions. Now, from a young age, Traci always knew she wanted to pursue dance. So at the age of 9, she decided to go ahead and pursue that passion no matter what anyone had to say. Fast forward to 2020, and she has opened her own dance company in Liberty City, Florida, the Young Contemporary Dance Theater. Traci, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just so blessed to still be here. So much stuff going on right now, and with the pandemic and the quarantine, I just think that it's so amazing to still be able to function and still have like good senses and everything like that. So, I just take it a day at a time, but everything is good.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Now, the first question I have for you, and I'm sure a lot of people are probably wondering the same thing as well, is how does dance translate virtually? So for your dance company, how does that work? Are you still hosting classes with your dancers?
Well, as of right now, I'm not holding classes with my company.
Okay.
I really wanted to make sure I exercise social distancing. And so, my company is pretty large, so it was kind of difficult to do that. So for the past 2 months, we haven't been, the studio has been closed for the past 2 months. But now that things are opening up a little bit more, I'm going to open up soon and start having smaller classes, just because I want to go ahead and have like a virtual concert. I think that it's still very important for the kids and everybody to just be able to have physical and mental health. And I think that's just as important as, of course, we want to make sure everybody is safe with the coronavirus. But however, there's a lot of people who are stressed out, dealing with depression and anxiety, and what better way to release those type of pressures than movement. So I think that it's very important to get these kids moving again. I'm going to restructure my classes and just make sure that it's smaller groups, keep them 6 feet apart to make sure, we follow those guidelines. But I still think it's very important to kind of move as much as we can safely past everything that's going on.
I agree. And I like that you touched on the mental health aspect of it, because I wanted to know, how are the students doing that? I'm sure the studio's never been closed for 2 months before. So how did they take that emotionally and mentally?
Yeah, it's a lot, because the thing is, the studio is a safe haven for a lot of the students. It's, for us creative people, it's a way for us to express and to just like purge of things that we are going through in daily life. So with that being snatched away, what else are they doing? What else are they doing? So I know that a lot of them are struggling, mentally. I know some of them are struggling physically as well, because I've seen how they look. They've been eating and just eating in quarantine. But most importantly, I think a lot of them are struggling with, I won't say everybody is depressed, but they are dealing with a little bit of anxiety and just stress, like, what do we do?
Right.
I have a lot of seniors who are already stressed out because they can't have, like, the traditional graduation, ceremonies and things like that. So on top of that, you couple that with not being able to dance, like, for some people, for artists, like, our lives are really being affected. And I know that people don't think that what we do is essential, but it really is. I get so offended when I get on social media and I hear people say, I'm an essential worker, and as if like what we do is not necessary. You know what I mean? I think that it's so necessary, what we do for the community.
100%, and especially with movement and dance, especially, it sometimes can be therapeutic, and it's a piece of like what you have been building up on that week. It's your way to get it out. So I completely understand, 100%.
Right.
So have you been like checking in with the students to see how they've been doing, like having like virtual Zoom meetups or things like that?
I haven't had any virtual meetups with the students, but I have, like a lot of times I'll perform and dance on my page for just my own therapeutic. If I'm not healthy, I can't help anyone else, right? So, all I know how to do is just move and be busy. So a lot of times they'll check in with me every now and then. I may have like a sidebar conversation with someone in their DM, just to kind of give them a little, the ones who I know may need it. We have a group chat within my company. So I'll send messages like on a whole, just making sure everybody's okay, kind of giving them updates of where we stand, things of that nature. But in terms of just like individually reach out to each individual kid, no, I haven't done that. But just because it's hard to do that, and I think that everybody's kind of like dealing with their own thing right now.
Right.
So, I know for me, they know that I'm going crazy. That's why if you look on my page, I'm like dancing every single day. And a lot of people tell me that I'm inspiration for them, but I'm doing it. I'm not really doing it for that purpose. I'm doing it for me as well. I have to make sure that I stay sane because dance is my outlet as well. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that I'm in a good space so that when I do open back up, everything is, as if nothing ever skipped a beat. So I have to keep moving. I don't know how to sit still.
And that's totally fine. And I have been watching your quarantine videos. So tell us about that. Is it something that you do on the daily? Because what are you at? What number are you at now?
So right now I'm at video number 40.
Yeah.
I've made 40 different videos of just me trying to express myself. Sometimes I'll have an artist reach out to me to ask me to perform to their music, to help get their music out there. So some of it is not just me dancing just to kind of like dance around in my room. Some of it is business, which is great for me too, because with the studio being closed, I have to find a way to make money in order to sustain bills. You know what I mean? Like the landlord still wants to get paid. I've worked so hard for this particular establishment. I don't want to let it go under because of this pandemic. So I have to find creative ways to stay afloat. And I think that's what this quarantine has done for a lot of creative people. It's forced us to just think outside of the box and reinvent the wheel on how to make money and to, not necessarily capitalize off of what's going on, but at the same token, you want to be able to just, flourish and continue. Because when all of this is over, I still want to have a business.
Right.
So
right.
I'm dancing for me, and then I'm also dancing, to make money. And also, in addition to that, when all of this is over, I still want to be able to provide opportunities for my dancers. So I have to, continue to stay relevant and just to make sure I do what I have to do so that when all of this is blown over, YCDT is still in that number.
Exactly. So I love how your perspective on this whole quarantine thing has been very positive. You've been keeping yourself active and busy during this time so that when this does blow over, you'll bounce back like nothing happened and even probably better off too. So that's
I hope so.
Yes. And so you spoke about the Instagram aspect. So I wanted to talk to you about the SupaMoves that is going on. And if you could tell us what exactly that is and how people can get involved in it as well.
So SupaMoves is a virtual dancercise class, and it's something I created out of COVID-19. I had never done it before. But again, I had to be creative and resourceful on like, what can I do to connect with people? This was an opportunity for me to be able to communicate and connect with people who I may not have normally had a chance to do so, who may have always wanted to take a dance class, with me, or to be able to have a conversation. Because a lot of times after the class, I sit and I communicate with some of the people who are on the Zoom. And so what it is it's a virtual dancercise class for all ages, all levels. You don't have to know how to dance. I just use dance as a way to help, a fun way to help you get into shape. All kind of music that I know that my audience would be able to relate to. And it's just a way for us to kind of combat the whole thing of just being stressed out. I think that we're all just kind of just over sitting in the house doing nothing. So I just wanted to find a creative way to reach people through movement. And again, it helps with the physical aspect. It helps with mental stability and just a way for you to release. And then a lot of the proceeds are going to go towards me helping to give scholarships to my graduating seniors that I have in my company. Yeah, I've been providing scholarships to my high school seniors for 15 years. And I don't want to have to stop doing that. And so usually when I do that, it's because my company is functioning full term, like full throttle, and I'm able to like take the proceeds that I'm making, from monthly fees and the concerts and stuff like that, and I can gift my students. But with everything being on a halt, I'm kind of like stuck. So I was like, okay, what can I do to raise money?
Awesome. That's amazing. That is amazing. And I saw that it's been sold out.
Yeah.
How did that, did you expect that reception? How did that make you feel?
So the crazy part about it is, okay, so let me just be honest with you. So with Zoom, with one aspect of it, you can have up to 100 people, right? And if you want to have up to 300, you can pay a different fee and make it larger. But I want to start kind of small. So I was like, let me do 100 first to see how that works. And honestly, with me having at least that amount of people in my dance company and me being from Miami and kind of the support that I've had over the years, I kind of expected for the support to be there, but I was surprised that most of my support are from strangers. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's crazy because, you know, I have some support from the home team, but the majority of the people who have sold out my Zoom and my classes have been people from other states, you know? And so I'm just so grateful sometimes because as much as you get support from the home team, a lot of times it's the people who you don't know who are giving you the most support. And I say that with the most humility. You know, I'm not, my intent is not to disrespect the people who have supported me from the beginning. However, I do want to highlight the fact that a lot of the support that I'm getting from these classes are from people who are not even from Miami. You know what I mean? And I'm just so grateful because I think what it is a lot of times when people have access to you, they take it for granted. So although these people who are around me every day, you know, they have access to me. So it's just, that's just Ms. Young-Byron.
Right. Yeah.
That's just a Black girl. Yeah. That's just Traci. But to other people, it's like, oh my God, I have an opportunity to really work with her. So, you know, I'm just grateful. And it has been selling out. And I mean, I haven't gotten to the 300 threshold yet. I mean, that would be great. But I'm still just grateful even just to touch 100 people.
Amazing. Yeah. And so I agree with that also because you never know who's watching you.
Right. And that's my point. Like, you just never know who's watching. And a lot of times you can inspire people who you see and touch every day, but you can also inspire people right through a computer screen. And I think that's what my platform has been able to do over the past few years, just reach and teach and touch people who I've never even met before.
Yes. And so with these classes, how long do they last and what can people expect?
So the classes are 45 minutes, and it doesn't seem like it's a long time, but within the first 15 minutes, people are dead. So I remember once after my first class, I had someone say, well, can the class be 20 minutes? I'm like, no, yeah, because it's really like nonstop. I do not give water breaks. It's a straight 45-minute, high energy, high impact class that's just full of, and I'm just an energetic person anyway, so I'm going to push that through the screen, and they can, because I want them to feel me. And you know, it's a lot of aerobic activities, a lot of ab work. It's a full body workout, so you're going to work your arms, your abs, your legs, probably your throat, your wrist, your fingertips. Like everything is going to get worked out. I think it's so important, and it's a really good time. And I think that people really thrive and feed off of my energy because I'm like nonstop jumping up and down the whole entire time. Yes, I'm tired too, but it's mental. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's mind over body. So if I can push myself, I think it motivates them to keep pushing as well.
Yes, and I think that's so great how your energy is able to translate through that computer. Yeah, that's great that they get to feel you that way as well.
Yeah. And the crazy part about it is I have people asking me on my social media platform, like, where do you get all this energy from? Or can you bottle it up and sell it? And I'm just like, the crazy part about it is like, I've always been this girl. Like, if you've known me since inception, I've always been super duper energetic. And I don't know where I get it from. Maybe I think it's like just God. Like I don't know, I guess when you love what you do, it translates, you know what I mean? So even when you have like those moments where you may not be in the mood or you're having a bad day, but when you just get back to the core of what makes you happy, and dance is it, and movement, I think that's why I'm just naturally just an energetic ball of fire, and it does translate. And I'm just so grateful to be able to impact people in that way. Like a lot of people, you know, they seem to be inspired by my energy, and I'm just grateful to be able to, you know, have that kind of impact on people. But for those people that want to, you know, be involved in SupaMoves, you can register at IamSuperBlackGirl.com. The classes are only $13. That is very, very inexpensive. You know, just to be able to do something that's going to help impact you, you know what I mean, and someone else as well in the long run. So again, that's on IamSuperBlackGirl.com.
Is it $13 because 1913?
Well, you know. You know, I am a member of the greatest sorority in the world. So, you know, since we founded in 1913, why not $13? You know, I just was trying to find a nice number in between 10 and 15. And then, you know, my favorite number is 3. So why not?
Why not? Yes. Speaking of the viral, I see you viral all the time. You're on Twitter, Instagram. I don't know if you saw that meme of Teddy following your Golden Girls.
Yeah.
How people are saying like, oh, look at Corona following y'all back to your house. So how does that make you feel to know also that you've been able to impact people on such high platforms that receive millions of views?
So it's crazy because like, For me, I just do what I do just because I love it, right? Of course, as creatives and as artists, it's always a great feeling to be acknowledged for your work. You know, if anybody says anything different, they are not telling the truth. So you do want to be acknowledged for your work, but that's not the driving force of what I do. However, it's so great to know that like people, millions of people around the world are just tuning in to little old me. It's just like, of course, my dancers as well, but like I tell my dancers all the time, like they're super talented, but the connection also is like we have this connection because I'm the sauce, like, you know what I mean? Like, so like just to know that I'm able to just impact that many people just from just doing what I love to do is absolutely amazing. And it's humbling too, because it's just like, damn, like, I'm sorry, like really, like it's crazy. It's just insane.
And right. Then I wanted to talk about the virtual experience of the Resurgence that's going on in June.
Yes.
So what is that, and what is that going to look like?
Okay, so every year I do, for the past 15 years, I've done 2 shows a year at a traditional theater where you have like over thousands of people, well not thousands, but over 1,000 of people who come out and watch the show. They watch their children, their grandchildren or whatever, and it's a huge success. Every single year we've done that twice a year. Now because of COVID-19, obviously a lot of theaters are not hosting, you know, large venues and concerts and things of that nature. So I had to think, okay, what can I do to still give our audience a show in a very safe way? So what we're doing is, and the crazy part about it is, I think that Resurgence is so perfect of a theme for this time. And the crazy part about it is I had already had that theme before COVID-19 even came up, but now it just works even better. Just a revival of just coming out of something, right? So I just think that it's like God sent, it was perfect. So what it's going to look like is we're going to have a concert in my studio, and thank God that I'm able to have a space that I can do that. And we're going to transform the studio into like a little black box theater. And I'm going to have a lighting designer come in, a videographer is going to come in, and we're going to have the students perform their pieces, obviously in smaller groups. They're going to be separated, and we're going to piece everything together, and then we're going to stream it live, and people can purchase the show. And we can still, you know, raise money to help towards scholarships, help towards the studio, and people still get a good show. And that way, people who can't travel to Miami to see my company perform, right, now has an opportunity to see us on a larger platform. So I'm hoping that it'll do just as well, if not better, than a traditional show. But either way, whether we sell 1,000 tickets or 100 tickets, I think we're still doing a great service to the community, to the arts community.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So how are the students like preparing during this time? Like, are they just like practicing on their own, or
so I'm sure they're not practicing on their own. I'm sure everybody's just like at home doing nothing. But so again, like I said, we haven't had any rehearsals. The studio has been closed for the past 2 months, but coming up very shortly, we're going to open up so that I can start having rehearsals in small groups. And I'm going to make sure that, you know, I've already created a schedule to make sure that, you know, there's not too many kids in the space at one time. The studio is my studio is a 6,000 square foot building, so we definitely have the space to do what we need to do to make sure everybody is safe. You know, we have masks in place, we have the forehead thermometers ready, we have our Lysol, we have the wipes, we have everything that we can do on our end to make sure that the teachers and staff and the students are going to be safe, and because that's most important first. And then once we open up in the next week, we're going to just go full throttle. We're going to have maybe like 2.5 or 3 weeks to put everything together, shoot it, film it, stream it, and that's it. Awesome. So it's going to be a real intense process. It's going to be something new and creative for everybody, because even for me to have to restage my pieces in my studio is different creatively for me also. You know what I mean? So everybody's going to have to like kind of just work together and just be able to be a little bit flexible in how we do things to make this be a real show. Because I want it to be a real show, you know, still quality. I don't want it just because it's in my studio to be lackluster. It still has to be the same thing that YCDT is known to give year after year.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. I know that I will definitely be tuning in because I enjoyed the show last year. So I'm excited
Thank
to see
you.
what you have in place. And so
Thank you.
What is next for Super Black Girl? What can the people expect?
Well, so I can't say too much, but just know that I've had quite a few people reach out to ask about, like, are you going to get another TV show? And when the next time you're going to be on TV? Again, I can't say too much, but just know that there are some things, you know, brewing up, and we just got to wait and see what happens. But this is not the last Black girl and her dancers. We just have to hope and pray that all of this blows over, the pandemic, and, you know, if the TV gods are in our favor, you might see me again. All right.
Yeah. Well, Traci, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure speaking with you and feeling that energy. I'm telling you, man, it just translates through the screen.